Hello, everybody. So, this is basically going to be an unscripted video, and I'm going to be talking about word use, like how vegans call what happens in the animal agriculture industry, like rape, murder, slavery, Holocaust. And I already covered some of the Holocaust thing in my That Vegan Teacher video, but I'm going to go over it again, flesh it out a little bit more. So, starting with rape. First of all, if you don't think animals can be raped, stay away from like my cats, like that right there. One sec, is this visible on yeah, it is. That right there. Yeah, stay away from her, because if animals can't be raped, then why would humans having sex with animals even be wrong? Like, I could go and take a cat like this one, or take a dog and just fuck it, and that would just be totally fine because animals can't get raped. The thing is, some people think that rape is an entirely human thing. Rape isn't a social construct, alright? We didn't just, as human beings, invent rape because we felt like it. We weren't like, oh, we're just gonna be collectively outraged and repulsed by this certain thing. It's common among animals. A lot of emotions and experiences that human beings have, a lot of people don't realize. It's common with a lot of other animals, most of them. Like maternal bonding, which I'm actually coincidentally about to talk about as well, between like cows and their babies. That happens with humans. It also happens with other animals. So it's just kind of a normal evolutionary phenomenon that we don't like rape, and that it's morally like horrible. And the thing is, a lot of people think that the rape and violation that vegans are talking about is with like cow milking. That's not true, and I'm gonna get to the milking part in a bit. What we're talking about is when a farmer like forces a cow into a room, right? Puts something over their neck, around their neck, not over their neck. Puts something around their neck so that they can't move or get away, right? He doesn't like put something around, it's already whatever. And then he puts his fist in the cow's anus, ass vagina, like up to here. The cow's like struggling to get away, and then takes like a pipette of bull semen and sticks it under there to forcefully impregnate her. They call it artificial insemination. That's the Orwellian. That's that's new speak for rape. Okay, that's what that is. It's like, if that isn't rape, then what is? I mean, it's not only like you're sticking something into a cow's ass vagina while they're trying to get away. Not only are you a human doing it with a cow, and a cow obviously can't even consent in the first place, but it's definitely sexual because of the reproduction aspect. Like, the point of it is for reproduction. Sex and reproduction just are the same thing. So it's forceful, like, fisting, and it's forceful reproduction. So you're forcing the mother to get pregnant, and then forcing her to have the baby, obviously, because she's pregnant, right? And then you tear the baby away from her, basically immediately. She doesn't like this, obviously. You can look into this after many cycles of this horrific rape. Cows will actually like try to hide their calves, their babies, because they know that farmers are going to steal them away from them. And they cry out for them, and it's really... So they do that, right? And then they milk the cow, right? And that's also forceful, obviously. Cow doesn't consent to that. The milk is for the baby, it's not for you. So it's literally exploitation, forceful exploitation against the cow's will, in a disgusting matter at every single part of the reproductive process and after. Is that not sexual abuse, at least? I mean, it's not sexual abuse, it's rape, which still is sexual abuse, but it's like, I said I was going to get back to the milking part. That's also a violation. I just realized I talked about that, because, like, the milk isn't for... I think that's everything I wanted to cover. I forgot to mention electroejaculation, and it is what it sounds like. It's of bulls, right? Because they need to collect the semen. Because, God forbid they let animals just hang out with each other and, like, mommy cow and daddy cow love each other very much. No, because that would hurt their profit margin. So electroejaculation is basically like they stick like an electric probe into a bull's asshole and like electrocutes them through their ass until they ejaculate forcefully. And I mean that's also rape on both ends, because it's like rape on the back end, because you're fucking shoving a probe into a bull's ass when it doesn't want it and is trying to get away from you, and you're forcing them to reproduce how you want them to put it lightly, I guess. So that's also rape. A lot of vegans only focus on like the cow fisting and artificial insemination thing. It also happens with bulls, right? We have to stick up for our boys as well. And it also happens in, of course, other animal product industries, like, with pigs, even like turkeys and chickens. There's just rape everywhere. So, I mean, a lot of people say, like, milk is rape. I mean, that's true, right? It does require that, or at least it always happens with that. But it's also all the other animal product industries, alright? So, yeah, and I'm not going to get into all those, because, yeah. Alright, so next up is murder. Vegans say that animals are murdered in animal agriculture. We say that if you eat animal products, you're eating the dead body of a murdered animal. So, the problem that most people have with this is that when you look up murder, it's like it says something like unlawful premeditated killing of one human being by another, right? And that is a definition. It's like the legal definition. But if you want to play semantic word games like that, it's like if my house got broken into and everything got stolen, and I'm like, I got robbed, and you're like, actually, it's burglary. Like, cool, bro. It basically means the same thing and is equally as wrong. And the definition, unlawful premeditated killing of one human by another, it's not even consistent, because second-degree murder is intentional but without premeditation. So is second-degree murder not murder? And the distinction of unlawful is arbitrary. It's completely arbitrary, actually. When you're not talking about, like, in a legal context, of course. Because what about government killings? What if some government doesn't like a journalist? So what if some government goes out, hires someone to decapitate a journalist? Is that not murder? Because it's not unlawful there. Can you say that killing of, like, I don't know, like slaves in early 1800s America is not murder because it wasn't unlawful? I mean, that's the distinction of lawfulness when we're talking about it just colloquially or as a moral concept is just completely arbitrary. And the distinction of species is also arbitrary, because let's say hypothetically there's an alien species that's almost the same as humans in all the ways that matter, like form complex social relations, are highly intelligent. Those also apply to animals, by the way, both of what I just said. And they can talk to each other, sure. I don't know, that doesn't really matter, but let's say I kill a member of that species, or a member of that species kills a human, because the definition is, as well as some people say, is unlawful premeditated killing of a human by another. So highly intelligent alien species kills a human. Is that not murder? A human kills member of highly intelligent alien species. Is that not murder? So I'm proposing a definition. I think this is how most people use the word anyway. Let's just say unjustified intentional killing of a highly sentient being by another. So that would exclude bugs, because the highly word there. If it's just killing of a sentient being by another, that wouldn't exclude bugs. It also includes killing the aliens I talked about, and it includes government killing and like assassinations and stuff. And that leads me into my next point, which is that we call it murder for people to make the connection, right? We're not making an argument from a legal standpoint. The actual word for it doesn't matter. It could be called digiblorp. It's still wrong to stab animals in the throat, put them in gas chambers, and cut them up into little pieces, alright? Murder is basically just a shorthand that we use to emphasize its cruelty and how immoral it is. It being animal agriculture, of course. The next one is slavery. The animal agriculture industry does enslave animals. And this one's going to be pretty short. The problem that most people have with this one is that they think that we're making a comparison to like early 1800s U.S. enslavement of black people. And that's not the case. We're not making a comparison to that. And the thing is that this also applies to other things like Holocaust, coincidentally, which is that people think that we're making a connection to the Jewish Holocaust, which is not true. There are other Holocausts. There have even been other human Holocausts, lots of them. Armenian Holocaust comes to mind. You could even say that, like, Great Leap Forward kind of Holocaust. I'm not educated enough in history to call it that. British colonialism in Africa, you could say that's a Holocaust. Again, not very, like, in-depth educated in history about that. But Holocaust and slavery are like things. They're not like allusions to specific events in history, right? There have even been lots of other accounts of slavery in human history of other people. Like, I think basically every single civilization that's existed has had slaves at some point. Like, it would be hard to name one that hasn't. So when you're calling something slavery, you're not specifically talking about black slavery in America in the years like 1776 to like 1865. Animals are enslaved in animal agriculture. I don't know, like, they're there against their will, right? You're exploiting them for profits. They can't leave. You torture them, and then you kill them. And they only exist to make you profit. I mean, I think that covers every aspect of every way that you could possibly use the word slavery. So, yeah, I'm not really going to talk about the Holocaust aspects more than that, because it's too in depth. It would take so long. And I already talked about it in my That Vegan Teacher video. Go check that out if you're interested. It's called Analyzing That Vegan Teacher on my YouTube channel. So That's most of what I wanted to talk about, actually. I guess one more thing I'll address is that sometimes people s- say that, like, when we call uh, rape of animals in the animal agriculture industry rape, that it like offends humans who have been raped. And the thing is, you shouldn't really be offended that we're accurately calling things what they are. And humans aren't the only species that can be raped. Just in the way that you as an individual aren't the only human who can be raped. So, this is a really sensitive topic, but there's also lots of vegans who have been raped before who say that they sympathize with animals because they've been raped and agree that we should call the rape of animals rape. And I mean, if you're offended by that, then I don't really know what to tell you. I mean, it is an accurate description. So I guess like it's unfortunate that you had to go through that, and it's unfortunate that you're offended at that. So I mean, if you're a rape victim and you're offended at that also, then you clearly take it seriously. So you should not want what happened to you to be inflicted on innocent, vulnerable animals in the masses, right? On a humongous scale. And I hope you can sympathize with them because of that. So, just to wrap this up, it doesn't really matter what terminology you use to describe these things. I think the reason that most vegans, including myself, use like the words murder, slavery, rape, holocaust to describe these things, other than that, they're just like straight up accurate, and they're efficient ways of saying it. Because like we don't want to say instead of murder like we're putting pigs in gas chambers and also stabbing animals in the throat and also like smashing baby piglets heads in and bolt gunning cows and like decapitating cows and decapitating chickens. Like that what I just said there is like 20 seconds long. I don't actually know if it's 20 seconds long. So it's if it's sufficient, it's accurate. And it does also appeal to the preconceived notions that people have in their heads about these things. Right? I'll just admit to that. But it's not like wrong to appeal to those notions. It's not shady when those things are actually happening, you know? It's appealing to people's actual morality instead of using the euphemisms that are designed to kind of hamper it. So it doesn't really matter what words you use to describe it. It's wrong to treat animals this way. That's it. So if you don't want animals to be treated this way, if you think that these things are wrong, whether they're in an animal or a human context, then stay or go vegan.